Try that again.
1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and.
There we go.
I just said
It 3 times a charm. 3 times.
Can we clip that? Can that be a shirt?
That would be a good one. This is the season of balance.
Yep.
Oh, breathe. Breathe.
I have a very loose hold on the idea of balance.
You are not in balance. Not balanced.
Nope.
No.
Hi, Rach.
Hello.
Hello. Shall we just dive right in? Welcome, everybody. Get going on with balance.
Oh, we shall.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome to Two Mystic Mamas.
All right. So are we speed talking through this episode?
Yep, we've got, by my crystal bracelet, we've got 20-something minutes.
And by my crystal bracelet.
By my crystal ball.
Yes. We are T-minus 24 minutes. There we go.
Okay.
Lucky number 24. Season of balance.
This is the season of balance.
Season of the snake plant.
Okay. So, spiritually
Spiritually
speaking. Go.
Let's see if we can get through all of our points.
Yeah. We don't have fucking time for this shit, Krystyn.
When Krystyn gets into a laughing fit where it's been like, okay, get your shit together. And then she'd, and then she can't talk. It's the most amazing thing you've ever seen. Yeah. Well, let's.
You should see how Charlie and I get going at the same time. Neither one of us can speak. It's just
a bunch of
diabolical.
Boiled peanuts.
Oh, God damn it, Rachel. Why would you have to bring up boiled peanuts?
Because it just happened at lunch and it was so funny. I was telling a story about at the beach. We had gone to a farmer's market and it was not good. Like the produce we got was not great. But the only thing we did get that my dad was real happy about was boiled peanuts, which naturally Charles was like, ugh, boiled penis. So then it turned into this whole.
And then Evie heard from the other room.
And then it turned
Evie just
into
kept yelling.
Yeah.
Stop saying it.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not a big fan. I've never had boiled peanuts.
She doesn't prefer her peanuts boiled.
No. We were talking about how we've had our peanuts, in a can. Then someone said raw. And I was like, no, raw peanuts. I'm actually growing peanuts in my garden.
How does Jeff feel about that?
He's okay with other people's peanuts.
They have an open garden, apparently.
This is the season of balance in our marriage. Balance of we grow peanuts, we share peanuts with others.
God, keep your peanuts down. Peter's
Wow. And Shane said, and I quote, I will not be able to get enough shorts out of this episode if we don't make it longer. This will just be shorts.
Okay.
And let's just do some deep breathing.
Okay. I can't, Rachel, to explain to us what spiritually balance refers to and means. Would you like my iPad?
Okay. See how this goes. Before I read this, I do want to say that while I was processing my own spiritual balance and thinking about this, there is a level of energy that goes into balancing whatever sector of life you're going to apply this to, and effort. Because a lot of times things are not in balance. Things are out of balance. And I remember Brene Brown talking about her marriage and how it was never 50-50.
I love this clip.
And how there were times where it was 80-20 or 60-40. And now this was applying to a marriage. You can apply it to so many aspects of your life of where you want to see balance or need balance and how to put effort into that, because it's not just going to come to center, if you will.
Right.
It's not going to come to that equilibrium. And so that really, from a spiritual standpoint, can be applied. And we'll talk through some of these rituals, how you can find balance. But as we move into the fall and we're coming out of the summer, we're moving back into school, getting back into session. If you have children, which we both do, if you are a student going back into school, if you are starting a new project, if you're starting a new relationship, like there's a balance of what does this now look like? How do we figure things out? So I think I've talked enough that I'm going to hand this back to you.
Okay.
You get one shot at this.
Okay, thanks, Mom. Spiritually balanced refers to a harmonious state where all aspects of one's inner and outer life are aligned, fostering a sense of well-being and wholeness. It involves integrating spiritual practices with daily life, finding equilibrium in one's thoughts, actions, and cultivating inner peace. So it's not just a system of weight.
Yes.
Well, to your point, moving into fall, what we're celebrating is equal part of light and dark.
Yes.
Right. And how do you feel when the year tips towards being darker than it is lighter? Because I know a lot of people deal with seasonal affective disorder. I try to combat that with seasonal decorations because I think it helps.
Seasonal decoration disorder.
I have that.
Yeah.
But it's
Thanks,
for me.
Home Goods.
Right. It's the January to March bit
Yes.
that gets me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good through the holidays.
Yes, I am too.
And then when January hits,
Yep.
it's a whole different ballgame.
We've had a couple episodes, though, where we've been educating ourselves on how to embrace the different seasons in a different way. So that's
Right.
been really fun to, again, go back to our toolbox and be like, okay, what can I pull out? That's a ritual. That's a different grounding exercise. Because naturally, a lot of times we talk about grounding, going outside, walking in nature. If there's 6 feet of snow, you're not going to go outside and walk in fucking nature. You can go outside.
I mean, some people will, but
Well,
we're not
on
necessarily
average.
those people.
Yeah, no. I like to look at snow. I'm not a big let me go play in the snow.
Again, give me like 2 weeks of it and I'm
And then I'm done.
good.
Yeah.
Right.
The first snowfall, I'm like, oh, good. Yes, this is so nice.
I smell snow.
Smell. Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. The smell. It's interesting how seasons have smells.
Mhm.
Very distinct smells.
They do.
We should have an episode about that
Ooh, we
because that's
should.
another Claire that's really not talked about. But
Sentience, isn't it?
it's something like that. Yeah. It's one of the lesser known Claires or lesser used Claires, if you will.
My mantra for this season is finding balance isn't about perfection. It's about rhythm
Mm.
and getting into a rhythm. Because like you said, everything is that push and that pull. It's that tide, right?
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
not necessarily going to be 50-50. Everything's not going to work out perfectly. Fall activities, fall sports, kids going back to school, all of the things are happening, whether you have children or you don't have children or you're going back to school
It's
yourself.
all relative. Yeah.
Football is happening. People are getting excited about stuff. It's, as my friend tells me, it's my frisky season.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, you definitely have a following around the fall, I would say, out of our group of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Also, I think being a witch
right.
with Halloween, it's just like
itself.
there's all of that.
I know I've had the Season of the Witch song stuck in my head all day.
Season. Yeah, isn't that Lana Del Rey?
Yeah. But Season
Lana.
of Balance. I
Yeah.
feel like that's our
that's
our song for
yeah.
Season of the Witch.
Yeah, it's good. That's a good one.
So one of the things I want to talk about with balance is the elements.
Okay. Yep.
This is super near and dear to my heart. And a really good practice is to notice when we're leaning too far into one element over the other.
Mhm.
I'm going to explain a little bit about what that looks like and how you can combat it. So the element of fire is really associated with energy and action,
Mhm.
where you have water, which is more rest and flow. Then we have air, which is ideas kind of being in your head
Creative.
and planning.
Yep.
And then earth, which is that like very practical, grounded kind of energy.
Like your ego.
Right. And I feel like as I was writing my notes and I was kind of thinking about this whole concept, I was like, okay, I have two where I like default to unconsciously.
Unconsciously.
subconsciously, consciously, all of the above. Do you have an element that you feel like you like default to?
Air.
Right. So mine is air and fire.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like I naturally, my state is either going to be up here or on the go.
Yeah. I'd say more air and water for me.
Right. You do love a good respite.
I do. And I also flow a lot. Like
Right.
I'm constantly like, I like to be organized and have a plan, but then there's flow to that plan.
Right.
You know, because there's a lot of balancing happening in my inner circle, but also like, yeah, just my inner circle includes my 3 kids, but I do also incorporate other children very easily and often.
You have a house full of children
into
all the
my
time.
flow. Yeah. And so just like, hey, how can I do this? Hey, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I'm both of those.
And it's interesting how you kind of naturally gravitate. I mean, there's some people that naturally are just like practical, grounded, analytical, like there's no space for being up here in your head and ideas and whatever. So our challenge to you guys is for 24 hours, I want you to spend time leaning in to the opposite element of where you feel like you tend to get stuck or default to. So if you have been in planning mode, if you're in your head, you're worried about things, you're dreaming, I want you to spend 24 hours grounding yourself to the earth.
I do that a lot because I know that's an area that I'm out of balance on.
Same.
So I'm constantly like, got to ground in.
Right.
I do some breathing exercise. Like I can
actively
feel
seek it out.
I do too.
Yeah.
100%.
If you feel like you have just been a person of action on the go, you are going to literally take that time to rest.
Yes. And incorporate.
Spend some time near water if possible.
Spend time near water. Take a bath. Take an orange shower ritual. We've talked about some of these in our past episodes. So
let life flow around you.
Yes.
I know it's hard. We have a to-do list. We have a schedule. All of the things. But literally give yourself over to 24 hours of the opposite of where you default.
Right.
If you feel like you've been kind of going with the flow without direction and you've just kind of been bobbing along and resting and whatever, it's time to take action.
That was last year for me.
Like,
yep.
What steps can you take? Take the action. 24 hours.
Yep. And it's good to note that these elements go in and out of balance throughout seasons of your life.
They can go in and out of balance in a week, in a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, yeah.
So, but I think it's one of those things that it's an exercise that is really powerful because we do things sometimes and we don't even know we're doing them.
Yep. Autopilot.
So it's just good to take awareness of that and be like, oh, this makes so much sense. And then incorporate some of these other things into, the schedule or the routine.
Right.
Tomorrow, the next day.
Right. And if you are that person that's like, no, I'm grounded, I'm practical, I'm logical, I'm this, like, you're stuck and that's okay.
And also,
you can be. Mm-hmm. It's time to dream. It's time to journal. It's time to free write. It's time to create something without a tangible result attached to it.
Right. Because aren't we now moving into the eclipse season? Eclipses are going to start happening now. Not that we have to incorporate that, but that's a separate set of energy too, when eclipse energy starts happening, you want to talk about light and dark.
Right.
That balance that can alter it, but not it's all about how you embrace that energy, how you use that energy to your advantage. So be mindful of some of that.
Well, and this is about microbalance, right? This is not about giant life overhauls. This is about subtle shifts in what you're doing. And again, that default, that autopilot that you continue to move towards, how can you make a small tweak in that that's going to help you learn the lesson that maybe you're repeating?
Yeah. Yeah. And if we look historically about equinox and when they happen, the spring and the fall, and the light and the dark, and in the fall, you have a lot of these harvest festivals, you have a lot of these gatherings coming together, and naturally they look different in 2025 than they did in 1925 or 1825. But you have these harvests where they're gathering up the food that they have planted in the spring, that they have grown throughout the summer, that is going to take them the longevity through the winter into the next start, right? So if you metaphorically speaking, take that approach to what the work you're doing now in the fall and how that's going to take you through the winter, which again, a lot of people struggle with the winter months because they can be, where you're no longer around other people, like your solitude, they can be restrictive in that way where you're not seeing as many people as you did, right? Because when you're out farming and gardening, you're usually seeing your neighbors and, hey, how you doing? And then you don't see anybody because you're just hunkered down in solitude.
We've actually talked about this in another one, and there is a good book that we recommended that I read. I don't know if you ever ended up reading it, Wintering.
I don't think so.
But we definitely talked about it on a previous podcast and what that looks like for those winter months. So kind of along these lines, I recently joined a Facebook group this summer that was about gardening in our specific zone, right? And I was dealing with some squash vine borers that took out my zucchini while we were on vacation. And so I was just trying to figure out, like, how do I keep this from taking out my majestic pumpkin arch out there? But what I've come away with is the number of people that want to control what's happening, like micromanage what is happening in their gardens. It's crazy to me.
Yes.
Like, people now are like, should I just pull everything and like wait, what's happening? Why aren't we letting nature happen?
That's an interesting thing to think about. But again,
right,
you could apply that probably to like most of their life. Oh, I think I was going to say lives and life. Lives. Sometimes I wonder how we came together and then we're just like, and we just do the same thing at the same time. Another thing that I want to talk about on how to keep the balance in flow and a good exercise is expressing that daily gratitude and just how incredibly important it is to focus on the positives. Especially, I was thinking about this as I was driving up because I'm in a current situation, like currently right now with my dad who's had health issues, and this tends to repeat every 3 years where we end up back in the hospital dealing with some of these things. And it's interesting how it like builds on the past experiences so we can handle it just more as a unit, and we aren't as not emotional, because it's always emotional when someone is facing really hard health issues, but how we kind of come to that place where we have so much gratitude, we express that in such a way, but we also are open to what is. So we're not projecting like what is going to happen, but just looking at all the options and the balance of life and death and what that looks like. And everyone's different. And we've talked about this on other podcast episodes about how dealing with death and walking through grief really should, in our opinion, be more vocalized and talked about, because it is an inevitable, it's like taxes. It's going to fucking happen. Everyone is going to experience death. And, the one thing that for me, it was really interesting because the last time this happened with my father, I hadn't had my spiritual awakening and I hadn't learned a lot of the tools that I now have in my toolbox. It was very evident to me that if his body chose to shut down, inevitably, that could be a possibility at some point and just is done giving the fight, that this will not be the end of our relationship. Like I knew that. I felt it so deep in my own soul. I mean, he's in my DNA. And so I was like, this is the balance of I'm not scared for him to die. Mm-hmm. I will be unbelievably sad, which is also why I have no makeup on, because I was too afraid to put makeup on and just cry this whole time. But I've actually not cried at all, which has been a little bit of a shock to me because I'm usually pretty easily triggered when it comes to crying. So for me, this season of balance, moving into this part of the year, he's currently stable and hopefully he will be discharged from the hospital. It will look different. Our balance of how we embrace him and care for him will look different moving forward. And that's part of where I am and how I can find gratitude in what has been the relationship that we have and how that will look different and move differently into the future.
Yeah.
So that's just a little personal segment of where I am and how I'm going to be using this season of balance.
Thank you for sharing that. I know it's hard.
Yeah. Well, the next one was facing the challenges within. That was an area, just another area of focus when you're dealing with the balance of light and dark.
Right. And I think one naturally leads to the other. When we are faced with the idea of the death of someone close, we start to look at our own lives as well under a much different looking microscope.
Sure. Absolutely.
And not that we're making comparisons by any means, but you certainly start to look at your life and be like, okay, do I want to make some adjustments to how I'm showing up for myself?
Yep.
Because inevitably, the relationship that we have with ourselves is the longest and most important.
It is. And it's the true constant.
Right.
The true constant.
Right.
You wake up, you go to sleep with yourself.
Right.
Every single day.
Again, it's not about perfection.
God, no.
It's about those graceful adjustments that we make every single day on the fly and that temperature check-in. Right. And then when we do get to kind of out of balance or out of whack, then it's like, oh, I haven't checked in here for a hot minute.
Yep.
And then you start to see the repercussions of that happen.
Yep.
And that's not just physically, that's emotionally and
it's mental, it's spiritual, it's all of those, that mind, body, and soul that does come to make us the human that we are having this experience, for sure. So
I was going to say, when you're trying to figure out a way to find this balance, one ritual that I would recommend is I want you to write down one thing that you're ready to release, the dark, right? And then on another sheet of paper, you're going to write down something that you are calling in, the light. Light a candle. If you have an altar space, awesome. If you just have a table or a countertop, light a candle. And on one side, you're going to put what you're releasing. And on the other side, you're going to put what you're calling in. And speak both of them out loud, right? And this is something that you can do every single month as a check-in with yourself. And I think especially moving into these darker months, it's such a good idea to just regularly check in with yourself.
Absolutely.
And be like, okay, where am I at? Where am I going? And does any of this feel good?
Yes. And you can do that exercise weekly or daily, whatever your schedule allows. And to Krystyn's point, if you say it out loud, there is more emphasis behind it because you're putting an actual unique frequency out there of your voice. If you're not in a position to say it out loud, you can certainly say it in your head. It still is effective. And just know that asking for abundance, asking for and welcoming in change in a certain way is 100% available to every single one of you all of the time. Goes back to that law of free will that if you do not ask, then it will not come. So don't be afraid to ask. No one's going to be like, oh no, you have too many requests in the pool. This isn't like a fucking, genie with 3 wishes. There's not a limit on what you can ask for in this human experience and what you can welcome in and also what you can release and cut. And sometimes, depending on what you're releasing and cutting, it's going to take some repetition. It's going to take some effort to really get to the root of whatever that is to fully release.
Right. And if you have multiple requests out there at once, that's another thing. Condense it.
Bring it in.
Because to your point, obviously you can ask for anything, right? But if you're out here and you've got 10 different requests in 10 different directions,
well, you're not going to see it.
You're not going to see it manifest. And the energy doesn't know where to flow.
Right. Exactly. Right?
So,
and
keep it simple.
Keep it simple and focused. And once you obtain and let go, whatever those things are, move on to the next thing.
Right.
It's just that one step in front of each other exercise, this is your life. So this isn't, we're not running a marathon.
Right.
We're walking. And at certain stages, it could feel like you might even be crawling. But as long as you're making incremental movements forward, you will see progress. You will see change.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Like that's an
It
exciting
is.
part of being a human and knowing that we have the ability to make those changes every day. So
I remember reading a blog post. There was the woman, Sophia, that started Nasty Gal, the clothing company.
okay.
So she goes bankrupt. I think there might be actually a Netflix documentary about this. She was talking about how you can have everything that you want. You just can't have it all at one time.
Mm.
And so she had this amazing business that was thriving, but at the same time, her marriage was crumbling.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that was such a good reminder. You can reinvent yourself at any moment, but when you get out of balance and you're excelling over here, there's usually something else
There is.
that's crumbling at the same time.
And I think that's another lesson in asking for help.
Right.
And knowing that you don't have to do everything all by yourself all the time. I think there's this misconception out there because we're both entrepreneurs and we're both women. And I know that there's a real art of asking for help and getting the right people in the right positions to do some of these things. So you maintain that as you grow, right? And
But-
as you
yeah.
excel in whatever capacity you want to lead. And I know from working in different capacities and in different spaces, some people don't have that. They want to keep and hold on to that power all themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a very big challenge for them to even acknowledge about
Well,
giving that.
Right. I
to
think
somebody
for,
else.
for some people, like I'm happy personally to delegate. I've been the person that's had to do all of the things for so long that I don't know where sometimes I need to ask for help because there's not been another person for me to ever go to ask for help. So I just figure it out, right? You figure it out, you go on. So for me, if you're like me, you just need to get clear with yourself on, okay, where am I facing? Where's my true north? And continue to move in that direction.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right. The season of the witch.
We love you guys.
Hope you enjoyed the beginning of this podcast because,
It was special.
and if you want, you can always go get yourself some boiled peanuts. They even make them in Cajun flavor.
Or you can just come to Rachel's yard where she's growing them.
That's right. You might get
Get your hot nuts.
one or two. We don't know how good that plant's doing.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Before we wrap,
Sorry.
no, I just want to try to make sure that we tell everyone, depending on what channel you are listening to this podcast on, this fabulous, amazing podcast. Also, know that we are on YouTube. So if you want to see our beautiful faces and watch some very funny shorts, not of us in shorts, actual short videos.
They're mostly about you pooping.
Yes, I do say poop from time to time on the podcast. You can go subscribe to our channel, to Mystic Mamas, and do a little click action in our channel.
Do a little clicking, guys.
for Shane's appreciation, right? Isn't that what makes the algorithm? The click, boom,
Engagement. Watch. Like.
Okay.
You're being hypnotized.
Yes. Ooh, 1, 2, 3. What? 1, 2, 3. What? Okay. And, okay. Bye.
Bye.